the idea of self-awareness is core to our practice. And really going back to that notion of I as the ego, the self-awareness works on aspects of ourselves that sit behind the I. So usually the I that we deal with in our ordinary state of consciousness is only a fraction of our entire psyche. And so one of the things that we do using altered states of consciousness, sometimes with psychedelic medicines, but sometimes using modalities like breathwork, like mindfulness practices, and other perhaps applied neuroscientific techniques, what we can do is discover more of that I, the parts of that I that sit in the subconscious, that affect our day-to-day interactions, our thoughts, our feelings and emotions. And building that self-awareness is really the most important part of this path towards healing and wholeness. This concept of healing, the concept of being whole, the word holy, they're all linked. And what that means is by shining light into parts of our psyche that are normally in the shadows, that we normally don't have access to, and by accepting ourselves, the totality of all of our different parts, that's when we become whole. That's how we heal, is by getting to know ourselves and perhaps the parts of ourselves that we would normally judge and not accept. And so acceptance of the different parts of our psyche, which comes after this process of self-awareness, is the path towards healing. And self-awareness is important in terms of us becoming familiar with ourselves, but also being aware of how others perceive us. And I think, we emphasize this point a lot when training psychedelic psychotherapists. It's important to be aware of how you may be perceived by someone else. And perhaps if you can keep that in mind, you may understand people's interactions with you better. Perhaps if someone is treating you in a way that you feel is not just, is really related to them, their own issues, their own projections, and the way they perceive you, which may be flawed. But this sort of knowledge, this self-awareness results ultimately in us being more at peace